Okay, now that we've got our beer brewing software downloaded, the first thing we want to do is go to New Recipe. And since I like dark beers and an ale is a pretty simple recipe to do, let's do a brown ale, so we'll call it My Brown Ale. And if you choose here, right there it will give you the guidelines on it. This is okay. And on this part, on this Brew Smith, you can actually customize your equipment, and I've got my setup in there, so I'll click OK, and it knows exactly what I have as far as a brew kettle, a mash tun, things like that. Let's do all grain, and then I'll show you how you can convert this over to extract. So the first thing we want to do, since I do know that the recipe called for a pale malt, and that will be our base grain, let's go click the 2-row pale malt from the US, and let's up that to 9 pounds. And now we need some grains, and I know that they mentioned caramel crystal malt, so we'll say OK on that one. Let's add some chocolate, since that was also mentioned. And just to make it our particular recipe and not just an absolute copy of some of the other ones, let's put some honey malt in there also. Now this is a little dark for my taste as far as this style of beer is concerned. I'm just perfectly fine with black beer, just not this isn't exactly what I want for this style. So let's back that off to 1/2 pound, and let's back this off to 1/2 pound also. And our color's pretty good. The gravity, we're just at the upper end, but it's still alright. The estimated color is good, so we'll leave that alone. Now we need some hops. So let's add, let's just go kooky here, and it's not exactly with style, but this is your beer, remember? Let's add some Cascade. Now our Cascade, we don't have enough for the bitter, so let's put 1.5 ounce. Okay, 28, and let's do some Cascade as a aroma hop also. Oops. Now this, you want to change this because it's got boil, it's got aroma, first wort, mash, and we'll put that for 5 minutes. So we have 9 pounds of pale malt, a pound of honey malt, 1/2 pound of caramel crystal malt, and 1/2 pound of chocolate. We have 1.5 ounces of Cascade at 60 minutes, 1 ounce of Cascade at 5 minutes. And the one thing that you want to remember whenever you're brewing with the all grains, and I've heard, keep your base malt at least 65%. And then I've also heard, don't make your adjuncts or your specialty malts any more than 15%. So I usually probably no more than 25% on most of my stuff down here. So as long as you keep it, I would say, at 65% on your base malt, which we're at 81%, so we're more than fine on that, then I would say that this should be pretty good. It's like I said, this is the one part where actually studying each one of these characteristics of the malts and the hops and everything really kind of gives a recipe whenever you go to design it, gives it your personal touch. And I'll go through, and it may not be specifically to the character of a beer, but if I read a description of one of the malts, or possibly the hops, or even a yeast profile that sounds good to me, that's what I'll use. It, like I said, it may not be in keeping with the standard of the beer or whatever, but it's like I said, if you're kind of designing a beer around your particular tastes, then I don't see anything wrong with that. If you're going to compete with the beer, you better stick to what the standards are on that. So now that we got the hops and everything ready, let's add some yeast. This is where kind of having the fun of looking for this, I know. Let me see. There we go. We'll put the London ESB in there. Okay, so now we've got everything in here. And let's choose our mash, and we'll say a single infusion full body mash. And I know that last time I did mash that my temperature was off by about 5 degrees, so I'm going to change that to adjust for the temperature for the equipment. So now it actually upped my water temperature a little bit, because I did lose about, like I said, 5 degrees whenever I mashed in. So we'll continue on to the second part in just a few minutes.